Okay, so at least thank you for that sort of pre-marriage. Now maybe you can give us a bit of insight into the first 5 years of marriage. What should you expect?
So, Connie, it's important to know that this friendship needs to grow. We've met, but now living together, we agreed we don't want someone to come in between us. So, deliberately, whether God blesses us with children or not, the first 3 years we said no kids. It's living ourselves and no relatives to live with us. We chose to live simply. So we got to know each other so much. Tukikosana tuko hapa. Tukienda out tuko hapa. We will decide to go and not care who has been left. So the first 5 years, 3 years getting to know each other, and of course God blessed us with children. Later, of course, when they came in, they found a solid couple.
Yeah.
And you don't need to get worried about children because it's God who gives. Because kama unao, kama hauna. Friendship
Holds you.
holds you.
Yeah.
If you're in a relationship for kids, you don't need to get married. You can get them anyway.
It's true.
But if you're here to grow, you build a foundation, and then God blesses you with kids. And that's how our first 5 years, I can tell you, we built ourselves close enough. And it was, I think, the time I realized that now I'm ahead of a family, sacrificing a lot, emotions and everything, learning from, of course, like Regina said, those seminars, which I think the role of the church now is to make sure that they empower. I remember I used to attend one of the churches. They used to prepare us from college. They would call all the boys together, give us tips on courtship, everything. And this is what we need to do. So it helped me grow the first 3 years. And that I think was...
Yeah, that's good. I think also that's the time you get to know who
Who
you
you are
got
married
married to. Yeah, because let me tell you, when you're from zoning here and mooning everywhere, so there's so many things you put up with. And sometimes you see the red flags, but you don't know how many red flags are many red flags, you see? So things like, he was very organized when I met him. I'll go to his house and the first thing I'm like, hey, my God, which one is this? As in, tusufuria tumecleaniwa, tumepangwa, you know? And then I look at it, I'm like, sasa mimi, will I manage, you know? And being the last one in our family, as in, I was struggling with those things because those things used to be done for me. So now I have to come and do it for not only me, but someone else, you know? And so we would do those things. And I would try my best as a wife I knew, and a very high bar to keep. One, in terms of cleanness, in terms of kitchen, cooking, and everything. So, but there are those small things that you find you're able to put up during courtship. Like hata akitoa socks aweke pale, you're so nice, unachukua unaweka pande ile, you know? Yeah, nguo zimeoshwa, pigwa pasi, mtu amezitoa amekelea kwa bed instead of the wardrobe. You know, those small things that really never bothered you during, you know, courtship, honeymoon, that phase. Now, in the first 5 years, you realize you can no longer put up with them. That's where problems start. Because now you're living literally in that house. And those small things that you used to ignore, you can't ignore them anymore. So
the real you.
The real you has to come out.
Yeah.
You know, has to come out. And the real him also has to come out. There are those things that probably would do. Kama hizo tusufuria, at the time I was going to his house, anatuosha, anatuweka pale. Now we are just two of us. For the first 3 years, two of us. Mwambie azioshe aziweke pale, the way you used to go to his house to see, you know, those things are no longer there. I mean, those small things. And so if I now continue looking for that guy in this marriage, then now a lot of people break up.
Probably the effort was because I was alone.
Yeah.
So when you come in together here, you've gotten married, so the wife is supposed to clean sufurias.
Yeah.
But those are things you adjust. You have to learn. I remember I used to come home early. She used to come later.
Sure.
Those are things you need to agree and adjust. Know how do I sit and wait for her to come and do the cleaning? So you adjust. The beauty of it is that, like I said, it's a raw material. You have to keep on adjusting because, like I said, at the back of your mind, it is a marriage. It's not something we are trying out. So the first 5 years is adjusting to each other. There are no absolutes. Like this is it. Of course, if you listened, like us, if we listened to our parents, probably would not be together because my dad, maybe he has a way of how a woman is supposed to behave.
Yeah.
But in this century, there are lots of
We
things.
say you can make it your own.
Yeah.
Yes,
yeah,
actually.
yeah.
We
Actually,
decided
that's
to make
what
it our own because when we got married, I was earning. When she started working, she tripled my salary.
Wow.
So how do you adjust? But because my mind, I knew I was limited. I knew my ability to earn was only because that is what was available. I could earn 5, 10 times more. So once you know that you're not limited to what is coming, then you are not threatened.
And to let me raise an issue from that. How do people deal with a situation where one spouse, let's say the woman, is earning much more than the man, and the society has put it in such a way that man is supposed to be the provider,
Yeah.
You
you
know?
know, or if your wife is a high-flying CEO, whatever, and you're not yet there, how do you balance that?
Sure.
And I think that can also boil into the issue of finances.
Yeah.
How do you tackle finances in marriage?
Maybe just to add it a little bit, we agreed that there's nothing mine and hers. This is where we go wrong. That for the man is ours and mine is mine. But that also has to be qualified. You have to agree and be trusted that when we put everything together, you're able to offer leadership. So as a man, you need to know, even if I'm bringing a drop and she's bringing the ocean, once the ocean is here, I am able to step up to the task to manage the ocean, not to, you can, unaweza mwaga ocean yote na ili ubaki na ile drop yako.
Yeah.
So these are things we need. For us, it was easy. We put everything together and we started. That's how we grew into our careers. We started like employees. We realized there's so much coming from her side. So I could even stop being employed and go start a business. See, I was employed because probably I had not started a business. You have to step up. Unfortunately, if you get married and you realize your wife is bringing a lot, so kazi yako ni kushindanga club to squander what the wife is bringing.
That's where problem.
Yeah.
But if you step up, like, okay, I'm earning this kind of a salary, but my wife is able to finance a whole project, then I can move from an employee to an entrepreneur and proudly say that she's the sponsor of the project. I'm not insecure. We are not competing with anyone.
That's true. I think that for a man to come to that level, so maturity has to be in that relationship. Communication lines have to be there, and also the insecurity has to be zero or cut completely, because majority of the reasons why women do the things they do or men do the things they do is because they are not sure, if I trust you with my ocean, you will truly take care of it, or will it be going to feed other people's homes, So when a woman is sure that the man, he's there with them, they can give everything. I mean, and it didn't have anything to do. And at the same time, there are basics that we have to discuss, because yes, true. Today, Connie, you're that girl who is earning 10,000, and Kate, you're that guy who is earning 500,000. But tomorrow, Corona comes, yes, the game changes.
Reversed.
So your 500,000 is now the 5,000, and her 10,000 is now the 100,000. Do you walk out of that relationship? No. Do you kill yourselves? No. Do you say, now I need to be the man, or can you now start behaving in a manner to suggest? Because I think that's where now also as women go wrong, especially when you're making more money than the man. I think that's where we women go wrong. When you're making more money than the man, then now you start, you want to show it.
Yes. Now
You want to rub it on his face that I'm the one bringing everything into this. Or when the man is making the money, they make you feel that, I mean, everything you have is because of me. I think the issue of finances in most marriages is actually the beginning of many problems, a majority of problems. If you're not able to manage it well, that's what brings a lot of breakages in marriage. Or you find people amenunua eka 10 pahali, mwingine eka 5 pahali, hakuna mtu ameambia mwingine, you know? Yeah.
And maybe before we get out of there, the friends, once you get into marriage, you must also decide who you want to hang around you. Because there are some people who will make you feel like marriage never works. So they will always be pointing that small thing, that mood you've come in with. So you must choose people who think that marriage works.
Support system.
Very important.
And now, Mr. James, just to take you back a bit to in the beginning when you were telling us about how you met Regina, you talked about pillars in a relationship. Could you emphasize on those a bit more?
You know, Kate, it's important to balance life. And the reason I mentioned about these pillars is because I know we will grow them, but they will not balance. When you balance, then it's easy. For example, all of us are in school trying to grow intellectually, and that leads into our financial pillar where everybody wants to have enough for the family and to invest. Those are 2 pillars, intellectually and financially. Then the other pillar is social. That's how you get to know your wife. I tell people, please stop being so busy. Find time for social life, because that's how you widen that scope, narrowing down into positive friendships, later relationships. That's the 3rd one. And the emotional pillar is what we've ignored these days, because you have to grow it. I have to take care of my wife's emotions. She has to know that I'm not the Meru man. I have my emotions too. I may not cry outward, but maybe I'm crying inside. So those are emotions we have to learn to grow. The 3, yes, yes, who die young because of holding everything. But once your wife notices that I got married to a Meru man, they will know how to take care of that person without hurting their ego. So those 3 pillars, once you balance, the problem with us, financial, intellectual, are growing so tall. Some, the tallest one is a spiritual one, and all the others are dwarfs. That's the other pillar. It's very important to have your spiritual pillar, whether it's a Christian, whether it's, you have to have a belief system which supports what you're doing.
Let's just say them. Maybe you can say it once again. What are those pillars?
Of course, the spiritual pillar, the financial one, the intellectual one, the emotional one, and the last one is social. Yeah, those once you balance those pillars, even marriage thrives, because you take care. I have to relate to my wife, making sure that all these pillars are balancing. Unfortunately, most of us are just focusing on 2, some for security. But once you invite someone else into your life, you realize you have money, you are so educated, but you ignored all the other pillars which are supposed to take care of you in a marriage.
I think that's one of the things I would like to talk about, especially the young people. I see them focusing so much about their career and the finances. So you focus, you grow your education like to master's, doctorate level. The rest are actually mute. You know, actually, like, let me first of all get my master's before I even start dating. Then you realize that, especially for the ladies, the guys who you were in college with, actually those who are potential husbands, potential. If I was to say probably I'll get married to James because of money, then actually would be on the bottom of the list, because the guys I was dating the time he approached me were working. They had money. They would take me wherever. But I think the fact that there is that came in there, the issue of finances is such a huge thing in today's world. I think there's that the issue of the pillar comes in, like, you have to decide where you need to be and what you need to be and who you need to be with. Otherwise, you can outgrow one, overlooking the rest, and you forget they all actually have to to be here.
They are all
They
holding
are
up their relationship.
completely.
And this communication is key, because when I came into her life, she's very free spirited. when we talk about boyfriends and girlfriends, one thing was very clear with me: there's no messing up around. This is something you have to respect yourself.
Completely.
Because if I realize you have these boyfriends and I'm not sure what you're doing with them, that had to come very clearly. Like myself, she would look up to me. We would not be arguing here. These are things you are not sure you want to be there. So communication was key, even when she would go out. I remember one of those boyfriends went and bought us lunch. You have to have a very high self-esteem. But I knew what I'm bringing on the table is not buying lunch. It's offering
I needed more than lunch,
And you see, at the end of it all, I beat them all.
Imagine.
You get.
Yeah.
So it's important. Communication is, Connie, if I know you have a boyfriend somewhere, I must be very sure that it's only, I did not find you a baby. I found you a grown-up girl. I'm not the only one. I knew.
Yeah.
There are others. So there's competition.
It's true.
Now, in this competition, the reason why I would shed all the others, if I realized there's a girl who I'm not sure in these other relationships what they are doing, she's gone. And by the time we became friends, I realized you will not get her into a compromising situation. You are friends. You take me home, we'll go out there, but you will not come into a situation where I'm not sure
What is going on?
what is going on. Which is very key.
Yeah.
And communication is key, because I would also ask, okay, for all this time, what were you doing? If you're not comfortable telling me, so what are you hiding?
And I think also I did wait for him to ask. I think most of the relationship fail because you wait for the other person to ask you, where were you? The minute you ask me, where were you today, tomorrow, I start now getting tired. Why are you asking? It should be natural, but I don't need to wait for him to ask me, where were you? The first thing is, I'm going out, I'm going with so and so, we're going there, here, and this is what you're going to do. And after I come back, I went here, and this is it. Men won't tell you, but they want to account your time. Yeah. As in, if you went up for 1 hour, they won't tell you they actually want you to account for it. They won't ask you, and neither will I. But the time someone is asking you, where are you? They want to account that time. You've been out a whole afternoon. The story you're giving them, is it adding up? As in,
it's only 30 minutes.
The activities you're giving, are they adding up to the whole afternoon?
This is how trust is built.
Yeah, that's how trust is.
You don't wait for me to ask you.
Or to question.
We've grown for 16 years. It's difficult not to know almost 80% of, without being asked.
Yeah.
Like, we have our we time, whether at home, and those first 3 years helped us. That she can come without me asking. She's even looking for time to tell me how her day was. I'm looking for time to tell her. But now the problem with us, I'm too busy. I want to get into the house. I want to finish my homework. And then here I am wondering, you went out, maybe even a friend visits and say, you remember the other day? And me as a husband, I have no picture of that day. So you learn to build. And please don't expect Connie to come here and start behaving that way one day. It's a journey. It takes time. It takes time, but it has to be from the word go.
Yeah.
You say that building upon that trust, you don't have to wait for him to ask you where you are, and sometimes you would ask, sometimes you just tell him. In, let's say, the modern relationships, people call that invasion of my privacy. Where does the buck stop? Like, where do you get to say that now, since we are building something here, we have to become like more open to each other. I have to let myself be vulnerable and expose myself to you. How does that connection come in there?
Okay, I think much of it is actually things that you should discuss during courtship. In as much as we are talking about it after marriage, during courtship, that time before you say I do, you need to understand what are the values for this man and this woman? Are we compatible? Because trust me, if you're not compatible before marriage, you won't be after marriage. And I think most young ladies now get married because maybe you went out with this guy and something happened in the between. Now there's a baby in here. So you get married because there's a baby. And that's a mistake unless there was a real connection in that. Because then you find you're now reacting to the situation that you're in to be married. If that marriage succeeds, it's good. Then it was meant to be. But majority of it will break. Even when you know, I think majority of it, way compatibility. Know what this person values and this person values, discuss them before marriage.
Learn the red flags.
Completely. Now the problem is, you don't know how many red flags again are too many red flags. And that's why we ladies go on, we ignore so many things. Because by that time, the feelings, the love, the physical attraction overshadows everything else. Yeah.
Maybe to add on what Regina said, I believe marriage, at whatever point you come in it, because you can have a child and decide not to get married. I believe if you've made up your mind to get married, just the same way you decide, I want to enroll a certain course, you must go and ask yourself what it entails. What is the structure? What are the syllabus?
How long?
Yeah.
Now, the problem with us, we jump. You want to get into an engineering school and you don't care whether you know mathematics or anything. I believe as a church, and this is a very good forum now where we come in and know these people want to move on. It will be very difficult because now you're learning on the job.
The job, it's true.
But it is still,
training.
because like Kate said, invading your personal space. The minute you decided to get married, there is nothing like a personal space. Do you have a double bed or you have a twin bed? It's a double bed.
That's deep.
Yeah.
So that means there is nothing private. Personal meaning we have to accommodate each other. And I have, of course, to trust you. You trust me. But there's to a level where you can be trusted. I can't just be coming home and these two gadgets these days become an issue. You are trying to protect it so much until the other person starts speculating things ambazo haziko. And probably I want to give Connie some money. And the wallet, I have to go to the bedroom, get the money and bring it to you. Even if it was 50 bob inside there, I will be thinking, you're giving me 50 bob, you are left with 950. So basically communication, verbal and non-verbal, matters a lot.
Well, I think we've learned so much. And just before we move on, allow me just to read one question from one of our viewers. It says, "Hi, Voice It Show. My name is Evelyn from Kikuyu. I'm enjoying the show. Thank you very much. I'm married for 2 years and I recently found out that my husband has been lying to me about very many things and I feel very hurt. How do I build the trust again and move on? I've become very withdrawn and I know it's affecting my marriage."
Wow. I think just to answer her, it's marriage is not easy. Like I said, a lot of people have skeletons in their closet, too many of them. And it is sad if somebody doesn't have to doesn't bring them on the table. Because I am who I am. The minute you accept to get married to me, it means you've accepted me with everything that I have. So majority of people or couples, you want to hide things from the other person. So you find one lie leads into another and leads into another and another. To a situation whereby somebody has even another family and you don't know. They have a family elsewhere. You're here thinking your husband is yours 100% just because he's been posted to Nairobi. Na alitoka Mombasa, so he's with you in Nairobi. But he has another family somewhere. So you find people struggle. But I think, again, it all boils down to open lines communication. You got to try and be open. And for men, women like men who are very, very open. I mean, if you are very open, just say that is it. You went, you did, yes. Then I forgive you or I hate you. But now it becomes to 1, 2, 3, 4. That's why now most women give up. But
Sorry, baby, to add on that, Connie, that's a scar.
that's true.
The minute you do something once,
Mhm.
it's a scar. Now, there are some things, I know it's not easy. For example, cheating. You go cheat out and come say, I did A, B, C, D. But like the viewer said, she
Evelyn.
knows, Evelyn. Evelyn now knows.
Mhm.
The husband has an option of covering with another lie. It's not what you think, it's not what they are saying, and it's easier for Evelyn to believe, but it's a scar. It's easier to confess and say, okay, A, B, C, D, but you know, now you have had a task of convincing her why she should trust you. So let's not have these scars. The best thing is to avoid. And if you get into such a situation, say it, humility, but you have to work extra hard to gain that trust again. One lie goes into another, but it will come out. When you can no longer keep it, it will come out.
The natural thing to do is talk about it. Because the worst you can do is know something and keep it to yourself. Because the other person will move on with their life free. They don't even know whether you're hurting. The minute you open up that situation, now you're able to get it or have it resolved.
Your chest.
Or completely, you're free. You don't need to be depressed about it. And I think the lying is not only about cheating, no. It can be finances. It can be you went, some simple things. Niliacha hii kikombe hapa imetolewa. Si mimi. Then you're like, we only 2 of us in this house. As in lying, and you don't look at lying as those big things, It's these small things that trust is built from these small things. And so don't just look at those. And I think the best thing is be open with each other. I think for me, that has worked for us, openness. However, how hurting, not the word, however, how hurting it is. It would rather hurt me now than later, because it will. Yeah.
Maybe for Evelyn, I would advise take time to see how to start this conversation. Because do you have a bit of reliable information? Do your homework so that even as you talk, you're talking not at a point of you are catching a thief. Or is this what is happening? And you could expect defense and everything. But if the whole discussion looks like I am here to help, not even to help, or rather, I know, but let's address the issue.
Yeah.
It's easier than confrontation, because you asked whether she should confront. I think she should take time and see how best to address it, but not to keep quiet about it.
And not jump into conclusion.
Yes.
Oh, yeah,
or jump
sure.
into
I also have a question. Here it goes. Hello, Voice It Show. My name is Carol. This topic is close to my heart as I am currently looking to get married, but I'm worried on the aspect of submission. As a lady, what is submission all about? As I am afraid to go in unsure of all the same. So probably each of you could, besides just knowing marriage is all, and relationships are all about submission.
Yeah, I'll go first because that issue, women are supposed to be or are looked at in every relationship as the people who actually should submit. And I think our culture has helped us in a big way to submit, because we grew up knowing that a woman should always do like almost everything for the man. Where I grew up, that is how I was brought up, whereby the man is there and us, we're supposed to be, doing everything to please that man. And it is true, because men have egos, my goodness, big ones. Yeah, they need to be feeling throughout, to whether we like it or not. I mean, that's how they are wired. A man can come there and because you're just a pool of girls, hana hata fair, lakini atatoa hiyo 500 to please to please, just to please you, so they'll do all those things. And the minute we understood, or I understood how men are wired to be, and there are several things you cannot change about that person. So I think submission for a woman comes almost naturally, as long as it's being channeled or being receptive. The other person is receiving it, not in a way to suppress, but to appreciate.
Yeah.
Because for example, in my case, I go out a lot, out of the country, a lot, and I go out probably with, most of the time, and my husband is left in the house. So if he was marrying me, that wife who should always be there to cook for him, do everything 100% for him, then we will not be together, But I also understand that as I go, there is a man I've left behind, and that man needs everything done with or without my presence. So we have to agree with him, look, these are how things are, and this is how we're gonna do. And that does not mean that now I've become the head of the house, and you're the one in the house. No,
it's all
the
about
woman.
back to
No.
communication.
We got to be, we understand. And again, communication. If you look at all that situation, you have to talk and reassure and assure that I will never be the head of the home. And again, one thing I will tell the ladies is that, the head of the home is already set, is the man. You be the neck.
Support
the head. But
Make it
majority of time, the neck decides where the head will turn, whichever direction. So it's up to you to make sure you're the neck that is not saying. You don't need to talk. You don't even need to push. You don't even need to ask. Just do your work as the wife. The head will be turning without you telling it.
That is a good quote.
Completely. Just do your work as the wife. Submit where you needed to submit. And most of the time, it's easier for me to say sorry than for him to say sorry. It's easier for a wife to look at the situation the way it is and know who is likely to calm down. Use your wisdom. God-given. Yeah. And we have that sixth sense, the gut feelings never fail us. But that sixth one, never ignore it. Use it. It's God-given. It's free. Use it. The man will just be following you. Watu anza kusema, amekaliwa chapati, amefanya. But it is nothing of those. You just did your work the way you're supposed to do, and upholding him there as the head of the home.
Yeah. Maybe to add on submission,
Yes.
it will come automatically if you play your role as a man. What is the woman submitting to? To insults, to oppression, that's short-lived. It can only be, and you can tell with time someone who has submitted, they will not take it anymore. But as a man, we have been told to love your wife, and she submits. It's a two-way. It's a responsibility of a man to love, and if you exhaust the word love, oh gosh, I don't know. The Bible says you owe no one nothing. You can pay all your debts. You can do everything else, but you cannot exhaust love. Unfortunately, men sometimes we give things in portions. Have this until I come back.
Yeah.
And you realize then submissions, it's earned. I am sure I tell guys out there, I tell young people that no man is bad, no woman is bad. It's how they decide to carry themselves in a relationship. So for men, you have to love your wife. Other men have to know. You see, the problem is I want to brag, my wife submits to me. But the way I'm carrying myself, there's nothing worth of submission.
Mm-mm.
So this is where men go wrong. We want everything done to us and for us, but we have nothing to do in return.
Oh.
And let me tell you, like Regina said, sometimes you have to be the odd odd one out. When we hang out with men, sometimes we are boys, and we want to teach each other how to run families. Sometimes you hear weird ways of running families. It's for you to choose which best suits my family.
Or they're out there doing baby until the wife shows up.
Yes.
And you wonder, is it the same man? You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like what Regina said. Submission will come naturally. Yes, it is not something that is taught, and it is not something that you have to enforce or to insist upon.
Yeah.
And also, personally, I believe that submission comes from both sides. Even the man can submit to the wife. I hope, Carol, that helps you out a lot. Thank you for your question.
Thanks, Keith. And I think now as we wind up, we want to hear from our guests their parting shots. Maybe just to know what you'd tell our viewers or anyone who is watching. What is your final takeout on all things to do with marriage?
One thing I can tell anyone that marriage works. Marriage is really good. So don't overlook or say, oh, I have made it, so I don't need to get married. Because for sure, there are things that he does that even wonder if I didn't have him, what would have happened? And I think also don't let that spark die. You know, that first feeling that you felt when you said yes to this guy, my goodness, don't let it die. I think that's what has kept us going, because even now you can look at me and I'm like, please, when will it end? It won't end, you know, and I would like, you know, that spark to continue even when we are 70 years and we're just walking, you know, holding each other for strength. I think that's what I would say. Keep it up, you know, ladies especially, do not get settled at nilifika, mimi, you know, ujiachilie. These are mavitu umeambiwa, but you're like, oh, do they work? Yes, they do, because men are virtual. They see. What they see is what they like. And what they like is what they admire, you know. So be that person that they are constantly seeing and admiring, you know. And also, they like when others look, they're like, so you're still there, yeah, you're still my girl, you know. So keep him guessing throughout. Don't usifike, tusifike, yeah. Yes, thank you.
You can see how Keith
Yeah, we can see. he
Mr.
strongly
Chao,
agrees.
very important.
Yeah. He strongly agrees with him. But then you kweli usiwaifika. Bado tuko recording. Yeah.
Maybe my parting shot to men. The minute you want to get married, marriage works. But don't bring in what your mother does into marriage, what your big sister does into marriage. Just know that when you're coming here, you are the one on top of things. Marriage works at whatever level you are. If you are senior, bachelor, if you're just cleared college, start thinking marriage. As you think masters, PhD, investments, kaploti, gari kubwa, the same energy should go into marriage, and you start working towards it. How? Empower yourselves. I know kind of these forums will empower you to know more about marriage. You will know what women want. You hear they want to keep you guessing. You have also to be, you have also not to feel insecure, because the minute you're kept guessing, you don't see competition. You just know you're on point. So my parting shot is marriage works, but as a man, you have to deliberately be on the steering. You must know that there is so much you want to give before you get, in terms of time, in terms of communication. It's not even so much resources, but also don't be the lazy one. If you're not working, do some invest. It's not the amount of what you bring, it's how you bring it. It's how you package it. Because there are guys who are out there who are moneyed, but guys, they have not much to show. So marriage works. If you want to reach out to those who it has worked for them. It's not been easy. We are not saying it's been roses. By the way, there is that saying which says, when you admire that rose, bado ina miba, ukishika vibaya
Takudunga.
itakudunga. So marriage works, beautiful rose, but ina miba yake. Be ready for those thorns. Enjoy the rose.
For all our viewers out there, I hope you've gotten something from what our guests have shared. Personally, I've learned that marriage works, and it is a bed of roses, but remember, roses still have thorns. You have to be ready to take them on. You have to be wary of the thorns. You have to know where they are. You have to communicate. You have to know how to go by them. It's all about being ready for the worst, but praying for the best. Thank you. And I've been your host, Keith Kinoti.
And I've been your host, Connie Kireka, and it has been an honor being here on the show. We've had an amazing time. I've enjoyed the time we've had with our guest, Mr. and Mrs. Kirimi. I hope you've really seen the journey from before they started being a couple, when they were just friends, how they moved into friend zone, the 5 years and all the way until 16 years, and they're happy and they look forward to reaching 70. So our takeout, and we hope you take the same message, is marriage works. No matter what you see on social media, all the negative stories that possibly are in the media, whatever it is, have the hope. So for you who is trusting to find a partner, know that God will provide for you in the right time. My name is Connie once again, and we look forward to seeing you on our next show. Please watch us on YouTube, give us your feedback, like, comment, share, and let's grow this platform. Bye.